What are the top 10 curse techniques in Jujutsu Kaisen in terms of their strength and potential? And shout out to Flaming Poison for the question. I couldn't pick just 10. I think I've got 11, maybe 12 on here, and they're not really in order, but they're kind of in order. So first up, it's Mekamaru's puppet manipulation and honorable mention to Principal Yaga. It's not entirely clear if he has a curse technique or that's just like his knowledge that allowed him to create the curse corpses. Clearly, other people can create curse corpses, but he might have also had a technique. Anyways, beside the point, you can create a whole army with this one, and Mekamaru in particular with his heavenly restriction, like, could do bonkers things with this. Gonna run through these next three all at once and then talk about them, but we've got Dagon's Disaster Tides, Hanami's Disaster Plants, and of course Jogo's Disaster Flames. I mean, we saw how strong each of them were. They were special grade for a reason. Wielding an element is just an extremely powerful tool and incredibly cool. Next, I've got Yuki's Bombaye, aka Star Rage, and on paper, this is like the most ridiculous curse technique of them all, but in practice, it's obviously got some limitations, and I recently just put out a video on this for anybody that wants to hear me wax poetic on that more, but that's why this is middle of the list instead of at the top. Next up, we've got Sukuna's Shrine, and I do think this is a really good curse technique, but it is obviously boosted by the fact that Sukuna is the one wielding it, the best jujutsu practitioner we've seen in the series. The way he combines Binding Vows and the Fire Arrow with his domain expansion, and just long-range slashes are so versatile in general. This is a great technique. Next up, we've got Kashimo's mythical beast Amber, and this was another one that was hard to place because obviously it's incredibly powerful, but it comes with a pretty huge downside in that you can only use it once. So in terms of overall strength and potential, I think that hurts it a lot. Next up, we got Mahito, and no, I didn't forget about him when I was talking about the rest of the disaster curses, but I feel like he is a few notches above them. Idol Transfiguration is just so strong. I think you can make a pretty good argument that it's the best curse technique in the series, but I am going to rank a few things over it because it does have its handicaps and limitations. But being able to not only transform yourself however you want, offensive capabilities, defensive capabilities, but being able to one-shot most people in the verse by turning them into a ladybug is extremely powerful. Next up is Geto's Cursed Spirit Manipulation. This is another one where you could build a literal army, each with entities that could have their own domain expansions. This one speaks for itself. Next, we got Megami's 10 Shadows, Maharaga. Need I say more? Next up, we've got Yuta Okotsu and his copy technique, so long as it comes paired with Rika, because you really need Rika to maximize the potential here. But Gege in the fan book even listed Rika as Okotsu's curse technique, so I think this is fair. But yeah, this is another one that's pretty self-explanatory because you basically can have your cake and eat it too. If somebody else has a cool curse technique that you want, cool, you can go grab it. Then finally, I'm sure this will come as no surprise, but in my top spot, I've got the Limitless curse technique. So long as we're assuming you also have the 6 eyes to pair with it. Just like with Rika, you need these to maximize the potential here. But there's a reason Gojo was the honored one for having both of these. I think it's very clearly the strongest curse technique in the series.